Empires don't die all at once, they fade. Slowly, their stories sift into the cracks of abandoned temples and sunken roads. Their kings, once immortalized on stone, now survive only as faint silhouettes in half-erased carvings. Their cities, once louder than modern capitals, fall quiet, leaving behind only wind, jungle, and the steady work of time. The world remembers Rome, Egypt, and China because their ruins still stand like colossal witnesses. But before them, and alongside them, were other empires. Great ones, violent, brilliant, beautiful ones. Empires that shaped civilizations, wrote the first stories, and once held the power to decide the fate of continents. And yet, one by one, they vanished. This is the story of three such worlds: Akkad, the Iron Kings of Anatolia, and the Jungle Empire of Angkor. Three civilizations that rose from dust to rule vast territories, only to return to dust again. Tonight, we unearth them. Thousands of years before Babylon's Hanging Gardens, long before the laws of Hammurabi, before Troy, before Greece was even a speck on the horizon, there was Akkad. Imagine the ancient Near East, 4,300 years ago. A broad plain of mud-brick cities, canals glistening in the sun, and ziggurats rising like stepped mountains above the Tigris and Euphrates. The air is thick with incense, scribes etch wet clay tablets under the shade of temple courtyards. But none of these city-states agree. Ur, Lagash, Umma, Kish each fights the other for irrigation channels and borders. The land is fertile, but the politics are venomous. It was in this fractured world that a man rose from nothing and built the first true empire in human history. His name was Sargon. Legend says he was discovered floating down a river in a basket, long before a similar tale was told of Moses. Whether fact or myth, Sargon grew up not as a prince, but as a servant. A gardener's boy, a cupbearer, a nobody. Yet from childhood, he had ambition that pierced through history like an arrow. He seized power in the city of Kish, rallied warriors, and defeated one Sumerian city after another. His armies moved like desert storms, fast, brutal, unstoppable. Within a single lifetime, Sargon conquered all of Sumer, pushed north into Syria, and marched west to the Mediterranean. For the first time, humanity experienced a centralized empire, a single ruler controlling dozens of ethnic groups and hundreds of cities. And at its heart stood Akkad, a glittering metropolis whose exact location has been lost for millennia. The city's name was spoken with amazement. Akkad, the center of the four corners of the world. The Akkadians did more than just conquer. They standardized weights, unified languages, built roads, and created the first standing professional army. This wasn't just a militaristic state, it was a machine. Scribes documented harvests, priests cataloged omens, tax collectors marched from city to city. Clay tablets speak of its thriving economy, of merchants and workshops, of temples and festivals. But clay survives better than flesh, and these achievements could not protect Akkad from the quiet catastrophe that awaited it. Around 2200 BCE, something strange happened. The skies hardened, rain stopped falling. Windstorms scoured the land, carrying dust that darkened the horizon. The lush plain that had fed millions turned brittle. Scientists today call this the 4.2 kilo-year event, a megadrought that devastated civilizations from Egypt to India. But ancient texts put it more simply: the gods turned away. Famine swept through Akkad, cities rebelled. Foreign tribes migrated into the starving empire, accelerating its collapse. Within a few decades, the world's first empire crumbled. Akkad disappeared so completely that for 4,000 years, historians doubted it ever existed. Its name survived only in fragmented inscriptions. Sargon's dream dissolved into the desert, but his idea empire would echo through every civilization to come. Next, we travel west from Mesopotamia into the rugged highlands of Anatolia. Here, 4,000 years ago, another empire rose from stone fortresses, horse-drawn chariots, and iron blades sharper than anything the world had seen. The Hittites. Their homeland was not lush like Egypt or flat like Mesopotamia. It was a land of harsh seasons and harder people, where survival demanded ingenuity. And in this environment, they built an empire powerful enough to challenge Egypt at its peak. Long before iron swords equipped Roman legions, the Hittites pioneered the art of iron working. Their smiths could smelt and shape iron centuries before most civilizations even recognized its value. Iron was rare, precious, and stronger than bronze. It was the nuclear technology of its day. While others fought with bronze spears, the Hittite elite wielded iron blades and traded iron to secure alliances. At the heart of their empire stood Hattusa, a stone city carved into cliffs and surrounded by walls so massive they still stand today. Walk through its ancient lion gate, and you can almost hear the echo of chariots. The city's scale is staggering. Multi-layered walls snaking across hills, temples for dozens of gods, and even underground tunnels for troops. The Hittites were surprisingly modern. Their kings corresponded with Egyptian pharaohs and Babylonian rulers. Clay tablets from their archives reveal treaties, marriage alliances, and even international trade regulations. They weren't primitive, they were sophisticated. Their greatest moment came on the plains of Kadesh around 1274 BCE. There, Pharaoh Ramses II of Egypt and Hittite king Muwatalli collided in one of history's largest chariot battles. The fighting was brutal. Dust clouds blocked the sun, spears shattered. Men screamed beneath crushing hooves. Both sides claimed victory, though neither truly won. But the battle drained the Hittites, their treasury weakened, their manpower thinned, and their enemies multiplied. And then, like Akkad before them, they faced something they could not fight. Around 1200 BCE, civilization across the eastern Mediterranean collapsed. Cities burned, trade routes vanished. Refugee groups, later called the Sea Peoples, attacked in waves. The Hittite Empire, already weakened, could not withstand the storm. Hattusa burned, its sanctuaries were shattered. By 1180 BCE, the Iron Lords of Anatolia were gone. Only fragments survived to whisper their story. For our final empire, we leave the deserts and mountains behind and walk into the humid heat of Southeast Asia. Here, between the 9th and 15th centuries, an empire grew from rice paddies and jungles to become one of the largest and most advanced civilizations of the medieval world. The Khmer Empire, its capital, Angkor, was enormous, covering over 1,000 square kilometers, larger than modern Paris or ancient Rome, a megacity centuries ahead of its time. Imagine reservoirs the size of small seas, roads arrow-straight for miles, and temples rising from the jungle like stone mountains. Most famous among them, Angkor Wat, the largest religious monument on earth. Khmer kings were not merely rulers, they were believed to be living gods, embodiments of Shiva or Vishnu on earth. Each king sought to outshine the last, carving vast temples from sandstone blocks hauled dozens of miles. Angkor Wat alone required 5 million tons of stone, more than the Great Pyramid. The city was a marvel, with grand avenues, shimmering moats, and markets filled with traders from India and China. It was the beating heart of Southeast Asia, yet its true power was not stone, it was water. The Khmers engineered an irrigation system so complex it rivaled ancient Rome's aqueducts. They redirected rivers, built enormous man-made lakes, and constructed canals across miles, transforming monsoon chaos into year-round agriculture. This allowed Angkor to feed a population that may have surpassed 1 million, unimaginably large for its time. But water, the empire's strength, would become its vulnerability. Beginning in the 14th century, Angkor faced crisis. Climate scientists now know Southeast Asia experienced decades of megadroughts, punctuated by catastrophic monsoons. The intricate irrigation system began to break. Without constant upkeep, canals clogged, reservoirs overflowed or dried out. Farming patterns collapsed, hunger spread. At the same time, the rising Ayutthaya kingdom from the west grew powerful. In 1431, they attacked Angkor. The city, already weakened, fell. The Khmer elite abandoned Angkor, and the jungle reclaimed the temples. Roots split stone, monkeys replaced worshippers. Silence grew where bells once rang. Angkor Wat remained, but its city died not in fire or blood, but in quiet retreat. 3 empires, 3 different worlds. Akkad, destroyed by climate and invasion. The Hittites, crushed by civilizational collapse. Angkor, slowly strangled by its own infrastructure beneath an unpredictable sky. Their stories are not just history, they are warnings. No empire is immortal. No system is permanent. No city is eternal. Time conquers all. Yet in their ruins, under dust, under jungle vines, under crumbled gates, humanity's ambition still glimmers faintly, like embers waiting to be noticed. For though these empires vanished, they were never truly lost. Not as long as someone remembers. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into the past, don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories of our forgotten world.